you know, free bands and 21 Savage sold somebody a condo. And when they bought the condo, they didn't know the nigga kept the keys and the door opener and all that shit to get in. So when the other nigga went out of town, the nigga that sold the condo to him went back in there and took shit.
Future might have just made the wildest move of his whole career. He dropped what looks like a slick diss toward 21 Savage on Twitter, and it's not looking good at all. When you throw shade at 21, you're not just talking about a rapper. You're talking about a crew that's been running the streets way before the record deals and fame ever came. These aren't studio-made gangsters pretending for clout. 4L has real roots in Atlanta, deep ones. Their name alone makes other crews pause before even speaking out. But Future clearly doesn't get what he's playing with. While he's been chilling in his mansion counting up streams, 21's people been surviving through real chaos. Now mix in those leaked jail calls, the fake friendships finally coming to light, and all those talks about flop albums. It's a recipe for pure disaster. And that little social media jab, it might be the spark that sets the whole thing off. The streets are already whispering loud. Word from Atlanta is that 4L is gearing up to make a serious statement. And when they make statements, it's never through interviews or tweets. It's through moves that can't be undone. The whole city's on edge right now. This could shake Atlanta's whole rap scene forever, and not everyone might make it out in one piece. But before we talk about how Future might have just signed his own downfall, let's get one thing straight. 4L isn't some regular rap squad. They're a real street family that's been moving heavy in Atlanta for years, handling business the kind of way you don't see on camera. When 21 Savage says he's the realest in it, he's not bragging for the mic. He's speaking facts that go way past the music. 4L stands for For Life, and these guys really live by that code. They've been tied to situations all over Atlanta that never hit the headlines, but trust, the streets remember every detail. When 21 raps about his past, he's not storytelling for views. He's laying out his actual resume, and his crew, they're still out here, still active. Now, Future's always played a different game. He's that smooth superstar who drops hit after hit, stays clear of beef, and keeps his image spotless.
Biting and you just not real. You biting and you ain't real. You just a buster all the way around. Like, hey, what's wrong with you? You're using nigga whole life, a whole saying and whole everything, and then don't even participate in a free a nigga campaign. Around the time I got locked up, I know for sure you would have made sure you said in one of your songs, "Free bruh," just because it's just publicity for you. Crazy, burnt out. I ain't even trying to think about these niggas. These niggas have a nigga mad. You can believe that.
That cool, distant attitude built him a whole empire. But now, those same walls he built for protection might be what trap him. The boundaries that used to keep everything calm, they just got shattered. Lately, 21's been carrying a heavy chip on his shoulder. His latest project, American Dream, only did 50,000 first week, a number that shocked everyone and bruised his pride. Meanwhile, Future's still sitting on the throne, getting crowned as Atlanta's king every time his name comes up. 21 sees that as fake love built on image, not authenticity. And that quiet anger has been cooking for months, getting hotter each day.
Me and him ain't been tight in a minute.
Yeah.
And it's because he do little lame jump, like call me to the studio. You know, so I pull up to the studio, messing, chilling with him. You asking me what to say on the song and how you should start off your song. Then there's girls in the room. Now you acting like you don't hear me telling you that. Because there's girls in here, like, just like little fake nigga like that, like little stuff like that. I don't be liking that nigga. I'm a player. Like, what's wrong with you, fool? You trying to, I don't know what image you trying to get off to these girls, but you an idiot, nigga. Like, everything you know a nigga teaching you, I done taught you. Like, cut it out, bro. Like.
Then Future's tweet hit the internet like a spark in gasoline. The tension exploded at the worst possible time, with Young Thug behind bars and the YSL situation still shaking the whole city. Everything's hanging by a thread, and this tiny tweet might be what finally snaps it. Atlanta's power balance is hanging by a thread right now. The city's already on edge, and now you've got two of the biggest names left, Future and 21 Savage, picking sides. That's a dangerous game in a city where loyalty means everything. Things really started to spiral after those leaked jail calls hit the internet, flipping the entire scene upside down. Those calls between Young Thug and his girl Mariah the Scientist were never meant to be public, but once they dropped, it was chaos. Thug didn't hold back at all. He went off about people he once trusted. And one name that came up again and again, Future. In one call, Thug mentioned how Future refused to perform at a Free Thug concert. Future allegedly told people he didn't want to steal Thug's shine, but Thug wasn't buying that excuse for a second. He called Future fake, said he was just finding polite ways to hide the fact he didn't want to stand next to him when things got rough. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Thug then started spilling about how Future changes up his whole energy whenever women are around. According to Thug, Future would come to him for song advice one minute, acting all humble. But the moment some girls walked in the studio, he'd suddenly act like Thug wasn't even talking. That's some cold behavior for someone who calls you bro. And then Thug took it even further. He started bringing up Future's personal life, saying he's been reckless with how he handles relationships and acting careless behind the scenes. Once those words leaked, the streets lit up with gossip, and Future's image took a hit that no PR team could clean up overnight. Thug didn't stop there. He dropped a name that turned the whispers into full-blown drama. He mentioned a woman named Arabian, claiming she went through multiple pregnancies tied to Future. Thug painted Future like someone who plays with people's hearts and lives without thinking twice. But the real bombshell? Thug said Future's whole camp was fake, straight up called it an illusion built on money and ego. He even went as far as calling Future a gal clown, saying he acts wild over women but isn't really built for the kind of life he raps about. Coming from young Thug, a man who's deeply respected in Atlanta streets, that hit hard. It wasn't just gossip. It was a full-on character takedown. What made it all hit even harder was the tone of those leaked calls. You could hear the emotion in Thug's voice, the pain, the betrayal, the disbelief. This wasn't that playful rap rivalry talk people brush off. This was raw emotion from someone who once saw Future as family. And when someone from your inner circle betrays you, that kind of wound cuts deeper than anything an outsider could ever do.
You know, free bands and 21 Savage sold somebody a condo, and when they bought the condo, they didn't know the nigga kept the keys and the door opener and all that shit to get in. So when the other nigga went out of town, the nigga that sold the condo to him went back in there and took shit.
So when those calls spread like wildfire, 21 Savage was suddenly at a crossroads. He could have stayed out of it, tried to smooth things over, but he didn't hesitate. He made his choice clear. He stood with Thug. And honestly, that loyalty makes sense. 21 and Thug's bond runs deep. It's bigger than music, bigger than clout. While Future was out living the superstar life, keeping things clean and distant, 21 and Thug were grinding side by side through real struggle. They came up in the same streets, built from the same pain, and earned their stripes through respect, not headlines. And when Thug got caught up in that RICO case, while others stayed quiet, 21 never folded. He stayed 10 toes down for his brother. 21 Savage wasn't just sending good wishes while Thug sat in that cell. He was really there for him. Visiting, putting money on his books, keeping his name alive both in the streets and in the booth. That's loyalty you can't fake, can't buy, and definitely can't replace. See, 21's been feeling overlooked for a long time. He's been out here putting in work, dropping hits, holding it down in Atlanta, and earning respect from the real ones. But when people talk about Atlanta royalty, it's usually Future's name that comes up first. So when someone like Young Thug, who is Atlanta royalty, starts calling out Future's character, it hits different. It's like everything 21's been feeling finally got confirmed. And 21's no fool. He understands the code of the streets better than most. He knows loyalty means way more than fake smiles or industry handshakes. Future might have the flashier catalog, the platinum plaques, and the pop connections, but Thug kept it solid when life got dark. And in 21's world, that's what really earns respect. There's also that pride factor. 21's always stood on being real, even when it cost him chances to go more commercial. So seeing Future still getting crowned as Atlanta's king while rumors paint him as fake behind the curtain must eat at him heavy. You can feel that silent tension building every time their names get mentioned together. But here's where things start getting even darker. The friction between Future's camp and 21's crew runs way deeper than music beef or bruised egos. Word around Atlanta says there was some real business gone bad, money involved, deals twisted, and consequences that didn't stay in the studio. The whispers tell a story that's got everyone watching closely. Here's where things start getting real messy. Word is, someone from 21 Savage's crew sold a condo to a member of Future's free bands team. On paper, it looked like a clean, normal real estate deal between people who move in the same music circles, but behind the scenes, it was a setup from the jump.
Yeah, if I would have met you, bro, I don't feel like you supposed to been in the street. Cause niggas don't know you really a smart ass, let it go ass nigga, call nigga phone, let it go ass nigga.
But a lot of niggas is them the
you
most
really a smart ass.
But yeah, goddamn, I don't know what I think what made me jump in the street was just my circumstances. I feel like I was forced in the street because I couldn't do nothing else. I ain't got no green card. I can't get no job. So how the hell else was I gonna survive? You feel what I'm saying? This is how I really feel. I feel like Atlanta is really goddamn, what's the word? Atlanta really a pedophile. Cause Atlanta really groomed us, bro, since we was kids.
The fuck?
No, just listen to what I'm saying.
The seller allegedly held onto an extra key and even kept the garage opener on purpose. It wasn't a mistake. It was part of the plan from day one. So when the buyer left town thinking everything was safe, the same person who sold him the place came right back and cleaned it out. We're talking big money here. Designer jewelry worth hundreds of thousands, stacks of cash, and multiple safes loaded with who knows what. This wasn't some small-time break-in. It was a major lick, the type of hit that could easily hit 6 figures or more. And when the buyer checked the security footage, boom, the truth was right there on camera. No mystery, no guessing. The person behind the robbery wasn't some outsider. It was someone directly connected to 21's camp. A calculated move, pulled off with inside knowledge. Now, in street terms, there's a code for situations like this. When something goes down involving people from your crew, the leader steps up and makes it right. That means paying back what was lost, or handling the one who crossed the line. But according to people close to the situation, 21 never fixed it, never made things right, and that silence hit deep. That move didn't just cause tension, it created real bad blood between both sides. This wasn't about songs or lyrics anymore. This was about respect, pride, and unfinished street business. People in Atlanta felt straight up disrespected, and not just because of the robbery itself. The real problem was that 21 didn't handle it the way the streets expect a boss to. In that world, when something happens under your name, you either fix it fast or handle whoever caused it. And since that didn't happen, a lot of people saw it as weakness. Or even worse, a sign that 21 might have turned a blind eye to it. That kind of silence can be deadly in street culture. This whole mess proves the tension goes way deeper than rap drama or bruised egos. There's real money, real betrayal, and real disrespect sitting under the surface, never properly handled. And when the streets and the music industry start mixing together, things can go from business to blood in a heartbeat. The tension really started to show publicly when 21 Savage sat down for that interview with Big Bank. Bank kept pushing him with one question. Who's the GOAT? Of Atlanta? You could literally see 21 squirming in his seat, dodging the question, changing topics, laughing it off. But Bank wasn't backing down. The energy in that room got tense fast. It was clear 21 didn't want to say Future's name. Every time the Atlanta hierarchy came up, he sidestepped it or gave vague answers. You could tell he had deep feelings about it, but wasn't ready to start a full-blown war on camera. Not yet, anyway.
You can't avoid Gunna. Your fans want to hear Drip Too Hard. They want to hear these songs that are amazing hit songs that you happen to have with Gunna. You're skipping them because Gunna's a snitch or a rat? I thought Young Thug's father said that. Technically, he's not, right? There's some YSL niggas now saying that, he's not. But Lil Baby's trying to stand on business and be like, f that. We're skipping the song. We're not even playing the song at the concert no more? I feel like something happened recently. Something behind the scenes. This confirms something happened behind the scenes recently.
Then when Bank pushed him one last time, 21 finally said it. I'm gonna say me. The way he said it, serious. No jokes, no smile, just confidence and frustration all mixed together. He truly feels he's earned that title and is done being overlooked. And when Bank asked who else deserved to be mentioned, 21 listed people from his own crew and other local names, but completely left Future out. It was a quiet shot, but everyone watching knew what it meant. That was pure, intentional disrespect. That interview was more than just a casual conversation. 21 Savage was testing the waters. By not naming Future as Atlanta's GOAT, he was checking the temperature, seeing how people would react. And when the internet started backing him up, comments flooding in saying, yeah, 21 really might be that guy, it lit a spark in him. Seeing fans agree gave him the confidence to push things even further. You could tell this wasn't some random emotional moment either. 21 had clearly been holding on to these feelings for a while. The way Atlanta's rap hierarchy is set up has been bothering him. He's been questioning why he's not mentioned in the same breath as Future when he's been putting in the same grind, if not more. This was his quiet rebellion, finally stepping out of the shadow and demanding the recognition he feels he's earned. Now, Future being the calm, calculated type didn't clap back with threats or name-calling. Nah, he played it cool like he always does. Instead of dropping diss tracks or wild posts, he let the numbers talk. He went online and posted about being the biggest in this, a subtle but powerful flex that reminded everyone that no matter who calls themselves the realest, he's still the one running the charts, selling out arenas, and moving the culture. But let's keep it real. Those leaked jail calls hit deep. Hearing someone you once called family call you fake, especially in front of the whole world, had to sting bad. Future helped Thug when he was still climbing, showed him love when few others did, so that betrayal cut way below the surface. Future's whole career has been built on staying cool under pressure. No messy beefs, no public meltdowns, just music and moves. That's how he stayed on top for over a decade while others crashed out. But this situation? This one's different. It's personal now. That biggest in this post wasn't just a flex. It was Future's way of saying, I hear the talk, but I'm still the one they can't touch. Future's biggest in this post might have looked like a simple flex. But in the middle of all this brewing tension, everybody knew what it really meant. It wasn't just a casual caption, it was a warning shot wrapped in luxury. But what stood out most was how Future handled it. He could have easily fired back directly at 21 Savage or addressed those leaked jail calls head on, but he didn't. Instead, he stayed calm, quiet, and strategic, for now at least. Some people saw that as a power move, like he was staying above the drama. Others, they saw it as weakness. Because in street culture, silence can get misread real fast. When you're dealing with crews like 4L, people who value action over words, staying quiet can come off like you're scared or slipping. Future might have thought he was keeping it classy, but in the streets of Atlanta, that kind of restraint can backfire quick. Then things flipped again when 21 Savage snapped. After his American Dream album underperformed, selling just 50,000 first week, he hit Twitter with a vengeance. That man started tweeting like he had years of bottled up smoke ready to pour out. He started by calling himself the realest in it, which everyone knew was a direct jab at Future's biggest comment. But then 21 went even further and started spilling industry secrets most rappers would never touch publicly. He started talking about how QCP from Quality Control was wrong about a few things, hinting that some behind-the-scenes decisions weren't as loyal as they looked. Then he dropped an even heavier bomb, saying that he and Lil Baby both knew Young Thug was shifting the rules when it came to snitching talk. That statement shook the game because it meant 21 was basically saying, we supported Thug in public, but behind closed doors, we saw the double standards. That kind of honesty was wild. It cracked open the image of unity that Atlanta's top rappers had been holding together for years. 21 basically admitted that Thug wasn't always consistent with his street code, and that some of the loyalty in those circles was more convenient than real. To top it off, he even mentioned trying to get Quavo and Offset on the same page again, saying he put them on a group call to squash their beef, but it didn't work. That small detail might sound random, but it showed 21's mindset. He's tired of fake peace and behind-the-scenes hypocrisy. With those tweets, he didn't just stir up drama. He cracked open the whole Atlanta hierarchy and forced everyone to pick a side. 21 Savage started shaping his image as the real one, the peacemaker trying to hold Atlanta together while everybody else let pride and ego tear it apart. He wanted people to see him as the guy still standing on real morals while others were letting fame cloud their loyalty. But things got wild when he started talking about Young Thug and Gunna. That's where the timeline went from spicy to straight up explosive. 21 said Thug always knew Gunna wasn't built for that gangster image from the start, but they decided to keep it quiet because at the time, it was good for business. That statement hit hard because it basically confirmed what a lot of people had been whispering for months, that the crew ignored the snitching rumors around Gunna because his music was bringing in too much money. 21 was saying out loud what everyone else was too scared to admit. Then he started calling out other Atlanta artists too, saying some of them were fake, only showing love when it benefited them. He claimed most of the scene had become political, full of people switching sides based on who was hot that week. In his eyes, he was the only one still moving with real loyalty and standing on principle while everyone else played both sides. That Twitter storm revealed just how much frustration had been bubbling under the surface. You could tell 21 had been holding this in for a long time, feeling overlooked, disrespected, and surrounded by phonies. And when his album flopped, that was the final straw. Only 50,000 first week for someone of his level? That's a hard hit. And for a rapper like 21, it's not just disappointing, it's dangerous for his career. So what did he do? He flipped the script. Instead of sitting quiet, he made noise, big noise. He got the internet talking, had blogs posting nonstop, and turned his L into controversy that everyone wanted a piece of. And who better to target than Future, the biggest name in the city? By calling himself the real one while spilling insider tea, 21 reminded everyone that drama sells. And nobody knows how to play that game better than him. 21 Savage is trying to rebuild his image from the ground up, positioning himself as the true voice of Atlanta. He's going all in on being seen as the one who still represents the real streets, the one who won't sell out or play politics. But that's a dangerous move. It's a risky play because when you start exposing powerful names and calling out industry heavyweights, you burn bridges that don't rebuild easy. Still, when your album tanks and your buzz starts fading, sometimes you gamble big just to stay in the spotlight. The issue is, this ain't just about rap egos or pride. This involves real street crews and real money. And when those two worlds collide, things can turn deadly fast. 21's betting his image on authenticity because that's what his whole brand is built on. From day one, his fans believed in his story, his pain, his past. So when the charts stop loving him, doubling down on that real street identity, even if it means leaking secrets and exposing people, makes sense from a branding point of view. But from a safety point of view, it's playing with fire. And here's where it gets serious. 4L isn't just a group of rappers flashing chains and flexing in videos. Nah, these are real street figures who've been connected to heavy business around Atlanta for years. They're not some studio entourage. They've got their own structure, their own code, and their own rules. So when 21 Savage says sliding, he's not just talking about diss tracks or subliminals. He's talking about people who actually move when it's time to handle business. Now think about that. Street credibility, wounded pride, low album sales, and years of quiet resentment, all bubbling together. That's not just rap drama, that's a recipe for something real to pop off. 21 feels like Future's been getting crowned as king off what he calls a fake persona, while Future feels stabbed in the back by someone he once helped rise up. That betrayal hits deep. And then there's Young Thug, locked up watching all this chaos spill out from a jail cell. The very conversations he thought would stay private have now turned into public fuel for beef that's growing by the day. Thug's name being dragged back into this mess just makes it worse because now the whole city feels divided. People are being forced to pick sides. And once sides get chosen in Atlanta's scene, it's only a matter of time before somebody takes it off the internet and into the streets. In Atlanta's music scene, picking sides isn't just about clout. It can have real-life consequences. The condo robbery situation already brought real money and real victims into the mix, and that's where things turn dangerous. Once street business crosses into music business, everything gets unpredictable. And when you've got a crew like 4L, known for answering disrespect with action, Future might have just put a silent target on his back without even realizing it. What makes this mess even more explosive is that both sides have real power. Future isn't just rich, he's connected deep in the industry, with influence that stretches far beyond Atlanta. Meanwhile, 21 Savage has something just as valuable: credibility. He's got respect from the streets and a crew that's not afraid to move when it's time. So now you've got money, influence, and muscle all clashing in one city. That's a recipe for chaos. And history already told us how this story can end. Every time street crews mix with rap beef, it never stays online. It jumps off the screen and into real life. People get hurt, friendships crumble, and careers vanish overnight. Atlanta's seen it before, and the way things are shaping up, this might be heading down the same road. All the ingredients are already there: pride, betrayal, money, and ego. And one wrong move could turn those Twitter fingers into trigger fingers. But this isn't just about Future, 21, and Thug anymore. This whole situation represents something bigger. It's a power shift happening right in front of our eyes. For years, Future was the undisputed king of Atlanta, the man with the hits, the style, the impact. Nobody questioned his reign. But now 21's stepping up, calling out what he sees as fake energy and demanding that people redefine what real means in Atlanta hip-hop. Even from behind bars, Young Thug's voice still echoes through the city, stirring things up from a distance. And then there's the new generation of artists, watching, learning, deciding who they want to stand beside when the dust settles. Loyalty lines are being drawn across the city right now. Some artists owe their whole sound to Future's influence, so they feel obligated to stay by his side. Others quietly agree with 21's message about authenticity and are starting to speak up. Meanwhile, the street crews that have done business with both camps are being forced to choose too. And once those decisions get made, there's no going back. Atlanta's hip-hop throne is shaking, and whoever wins this war might just change the entire sound and power structure of the city forever. What makes this situation truly dangerous is that both sides are connected to the streets for real. This isn't some harmless Twitter argument between rappers living in gated mansions. These are people with actual ties, real resources, and teams that know how to move when things get serious. Once that kind of energy gets involved, words can turn into something physical real fast. What's wild is how this whole mess also shines a light on a deep tension that's always existed in hip-hop, the clash between commercial success and street credibility. Future stands tall as the face of the commercial side, the hit maker, the hit charts, the crossover superstar who's built a global empire. Meanwhile, 21 Savage holds down the other side, the gritty, authentic, no-compromise reality that the streets relate to. Now, this beef is forcing Atlanta to make a choice. What do you value more, success or authenticity? And that's a dangerous question in a culture that's built on keeping it real. Because when fans and artists are split between respect for the streets and love for fame, it creates a divide that can't easily be fixed. Looking at the big picture, this whole thing started with those leaked jail calls, but that was just the spark. Underneath, it's really about respect, loyalty, and what real actually means in today's rap game. Young Thug's private words about Future exposed years of tension that everyone had been ignoring. Fake friendships, quiet jealousy, and bottled up resentment. Once those calls leaked, it ripped the mask off and forced everyone to face what had been brewing for years. Then came 21's move, choosing Thug over Future, and that spoke volumes. It showed exactly where his loyalty lies, even if it means going against someone with more fame and more industry pull. Depending on who you ask, that's either real loyalty or reckless pride. Either way, it drew a permanent line in the sand. And let's not forget the condo robbery. That's proof this whole situation isn't just music drama. That was real street business that never got handled properly, and it left scars that money or apologies couldn't fix. Add in the frustration from 21's album flopping and that unfiltered Twitter rant, and you've got a man pushed to the edge, taking risks he might normally think twice about. When desperation, ego, and street pride all collide in a city like Atlanta, things rarely end quietly. Future's calm, laid-back attitude has always been his secret weapon. It's kept him out of messy drama and let him focus on his craft. But this time, that silence might be working against him. In a city like Atlanta where perception is everything, staying quiet can start to look like weakness. And that's dangerous in a place where image, pride, and reputation mean everything. What this whole situation really proves is that success doesn't automatically bring respect. You can have the plaques, the hits, the fame, but if the streets don't feel you're real, that respect fades quick. Sometimes being the realest means standing up and calling out the fake, even if doing so costs you everything you built. That's the game both 21 and Future are playing right now, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The big question now is simple but deadly. Does this stay on social media and in the music, or does it spill into something much darker? Atlanta's watching every move. The streets are whispering, the blogs are buzzing, and everybody's waiting to see who's really about what they claim. In a city where keeping it real can literally be the difference between life and death, that's not a game anyone should want to test. The scariest part? Once this type of beef starts rolling, it's almost impossible to control where it goes. What started with some leaked jail calls and hurt egos could spiral into something way more dangerous, with real consequences for real people. Atlanta's hip-hop scene has always lived in that blurred space between entertainment and reality. And this situation shows just how thin that line really is. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think 21 Savage is right about Future being fake? Or is he just reaching, trying to stir things up after that album flop? And more importantly, do you think this whole thing stays online? Or does it turn into something that can't be undone? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button, share this with your friends, and make sure you subscribe. Because this story is far from over. And trust me, it might get a whole lot wilder before it ever cools down.